Professional fisherman Arnold had spent most of his life along South Australia's stunning coast, navigating the vast Indian Ocean. Every morning, he would set out in his old but trusty boat, driven by the thrill of the open sea and the hope of reeling in a good catch. These waters, however, held more than just schools of fish. They were also home to the ocean's most formidable predators, including the notorious great white shark. One day, as Arnold scanned the clear turquoise water for signs of fish, he noticed something unusual, a massive fin slicing through the surface, moving alarmingly close to his boat. His heart raced as he recognized the unmistakable silhouette of a great white shark, a creature known for its incredible size and strength. Arnold felt the jolt of fear. At over 20 feet long, great whites were among the most fearsome creatures in the ocean, and even a brief encounter could be deadly. But something seemed wrong. Arnold noticed that the shark was tangled in a protective net, one set up along the coast to keep predators away from boats and swimmers. Despite its immense power, the shark was helpless, thrashing its massive tail in desperation to break free. Arnold knew the risk of approaching any trapped wild animal, especially a shark with jaws lined with razor-sharp teeth capable of tearing through flesh in an instant. Yet, as he watched the struggling creature, Arnold couldn't ignore a surge of empathy. This powerful predator was now vulnerable, a stark reminder of how even the mightiest can be subdued by human interference. He felt a deep pity for the shark, trapped in a net with little chance of escape, and knew he couldn't just leave it to suffer a slow, agonizing death. With his heart pounding, Arnold steered his boat closer to the thrashing shark. The creature's enormous body was only partially visible beneath the water, its power evident even in its trapped state. Taking a deep breath, he prepared for a rescue that could easily turn deadly. As he maneuvered the boat to within arm's reach, Arnold found himself face to face with the gaping mouth of the great white, its rows of teeth glinting like polished knives. A shiver of primal fear ran through him, but he steadied himself, determined to help. Arnold grabbed his knife and began carefully slicing through the thick ropes that held the shark captive. Every cut sent a rush of adrenaline through him. He was a seasoned fisherman, knowledgeable about marine life, especially the great white shark, and he knew well the risks he was taking. Once freed, the shark could easily turn on him, using its strength to attack. But in that moment, Arnold's compassion outweighed his fear, and he continued working, each cut bringing the shark closer to freedom. As he cut through the net, he felt the shark's desperate movements intensify, forcing him to steady himself to avoid being thrown overboard. Each snap of the rope brought him face to face with the danger before him, yet he pressed on, nearing the final bonds that held the massive creature in place. Finally, with one last slice, the net gave way, and the great white was free. Arnold held his breath, bracing himself for what might happen next. He expected the shark to either bolt into the ocean depths or perhaps turn on him in a burst of aggression. But what happened was nothing he could have anticipated. Instead of darting away, the shark hovered near the boat, its massive form gliding silently in the water, as if taking in its surroundings, and perhaps even the human who had freed it. Arnold was astonished as the great white stayed close, showing no signs of fear or hostility. In a strange way, it felt almost like gratitude, an acknowledgement of the unusual kindness it had just received. In the days that followed, Arnold continued to encounter the great white as he went out to sea. Each morning, he would spot the familiar fin trailing behind his boat, the shark shadowing him like an unexpected guardian. Their encounters defied everything Arnold had ever known about sharks, yet he found comfort in the creature's quiet presence, a reminder of the powerful connection he had forged with one of nature's most feared predators. From that day on, Arnold's daily trips to the ocean took on new meaning. He would always remember that unforgettable encounter, a moment of courage and compassion that blurred the lines between man and beast, turning a feared predator into an unlikely friend. Instead of swimming off or showing aggression, the great white shark paused, then began trailing behind Arnold's boat, gliding silently in the water as if it had formed a unique, unspoken connection with its rescuer. Arnold watched, a mixture of awe and disbelief washing over him. The shark's powerful body moved smoothly through the waves, keeping a steady pace with the boat, its dorsal fin slicing through the surface just a few feet behind him. As Arnold navigated the boat along the coastline, the shark stayed close, its sleek form clearly visible beneath the water. The experience felt surreal, almost otherworldly. Here was a predator feared across the marine world, known for its solitary nature and aggression, now quietly following him as though they were companions. Arnold, who had spent decades fishing these waters, had never seen anything like it. For miles, the shark kept its position near Arnold, never straying far. Its eyes, which he always imagined as fierce and lifeless, now seemed calm, even curious as they glided through the boat's wake. Arnold couldn't shake the feeling that the shark recognized its rescue, almost as if it were acknowledging the kindness that had saved it from certain death. As far-fetched as the idea was, Arnold couldn't dismiss it in the face of what he was witnessing. As they reached the edge of deeper waters, where the shoreline faded and the vast ocean stretched before them, the shark gradually began to slow, eventually drifting farther from Arnold's boat. With one last powerful flick of its tail, it disappeared into the depths, leaving Arnold alone in the quiet expanse. He sat there for a while, trying to process what had just happened. The experience had shown him a side of the ocean he never expected, a connection between human and predator that seemed rooted in understanding. When he returned to shore, Arnold's mind was filled with the memory of this extraordinary encounter. For all these years as a fisherman, he had never experienced anything like it. It was a potent reminder of the delicate balance between life and death in the ocean's vast, mysterious world. Although he would continue fishing, he knew he would approach each journey with a renewed respect for the creatures beneath the waves, forever changed by the gratitude of a great white shark. The following morning, as Arnold prepared for another day at sea, he felt a strange sense of anticipation, wondering if the shark would return. Sure enough, as soon as he started his boat, the familiar dorsal fins surfaced nearby, and the shark effortlessly matched his pace. Day after day, this pattern repeated itself. Every morning as Arnold headed out, the shark would appear, shadowing him loyally as if expressing its gratitude in the only way it could. Arnold began to feel a deep connection with the creature, sensing that it recognized him as more than just another human in its territory. At times, while out in open water, Arnold would put the boat in neutral and allow the engine to rest. Without fail, the shark would glide up to the side of the boat, lifting its massive head just above the surface, rows of sharp teeth visible beneath its slightly parted jaws. But there was no aggression in its movements. Instead, it would simply hover there as if waiting for Arnold to acknowledge its presence. Arnold found himself gently patting the water's surface near the shark, as if greeting an old friend. His fear and awe had transformed into a mutual respect. He could hardly believe this fierce predator was acting almost like a loyal companion. The great white would swish its tail in response, and Arnold could swear he heard it make a low rumbling sound, almost like a cat's purr, a strange display of trust and connection. As days turned into weeks, the story of Arnold and his unusual companion spread around the small coastal town. Some people laughed, finding the idea of a friendly shark hard to believe, while others listened in fascination. For Arnold, however, it was a real and humbling experience. Each time he encountered Cindy, his affectionate name for the shark, he felt a renewed sense of wonder. The once feared creature had shown him a side of the ocean he'd never known, a glimpse into the silent, unbreakable connections that can form between beings from vastly different worlds. Arnold knew he would never forget Cindy. The bond they had formed was unlike anything he had ever experienced, a reminder that the ocean held mysteries beyond mere survival, and that even its most feared predators could carry within them a surprising capacity for connection. Over time, Arnold grew comfortable enough to interact with his unexpected companion in gentle, friendly ways. He would reach out to pat the shark's head or offer a freshly caught fish as a token of kindness. To his amazement, the great white accepted these gestures without a hint of aggression, swishing its powerful tail in a way that struck Arnold as playful. Occasionally, the shark even made deep, rumbling sounds, something Arnold found astonishingly similar to a cat's purr. Watching this mighty predator respond so gently was both surreal and heartwarming, defying everything Arnold thought he knew about great whites. As days passed, Arnold began to view the shark less as a predator and more as a companion. He even named her Cindy as if she were a familiar pet rather than a creature known to inspire fear. Cindy became part of his daily routine, waiting near the shore each morning, ready to accompany him out to sea. Arnold found himself looking forward to these encounters, cherishing the gentle, curious nature Cindy revealed. The great white, once the ocean's feared hunter in his mind, had shown him an entirely new side, one of trust and loyalty. News of Arnold's unusual friendship quickly spread through the coastal town. While many found the story hard to believe, with some laughing at the idea of a friendly shark, Arnold didn't mind the skepticism. Cindy's companionship had given him an insight into the unexpected kindness that could exist in even the fiercest of creatures. To Arnold, their bond was a symbol of the respect and empathy that could bridge the gap between humans and animals. For weeks, their daily routine continued. Each morning, Cindy would patiently wait by the shore, ready to follow Arnold's boat as he headed out to fish. In return, Arnold brought small offerings of fish, grateful for the loyalty and trust Cindy displayed. Their connection was steady, and Arnold felt a deep gratitude for the bond they shared, a bond that reminded him of the richness and depth the ocean held beyond mere survival. However, this extraordinary friendship brought its own challenges. Cindy's presence had an unintended consequence. Her reputation as a top predator scared away all other marine life. Schools of fish, sensing her nearby, kept their distance, leaving Arnold's nets empty more often than not. For a professional fisherman, this was no small problem, as a lack of catch threatened his income. The companionship that brought him so much joy was also starting to strain his livelihood. Despite this, Arnold took the setback in stride, determined to find a balance between his friendship with Cindy and his need to make a living. He saw this unique connection as a gift, a reward for facing his fears and showing compassion to a creature most would shun. Though the financial impact was real, Arnold believed that his kindness towards Cindy would come back to him in ways beyond money. He sensed that this extraordinary friendship was changing him, fostering a respect and understanding for the ocean's mysteries that went beyond his years of fishing. When Arnold shared stories about Cindy with friends, he was open about the ups and downs of their friendship. He spoke fondly of the moments Cindy swam beside his boat, occasionally lifting her head out of the water to let him gently scratch her snout. The sight of such a fierce predator responding to human touch with such trust was a source of pure joy for Arnold. He found it incredible that an animal so feared could offer a bond that felt almost affectionate, like that of a pet's loyalty. Cindy's trust in him was a rare and precious gift, and he cherished each encounter, recognizing the privilege of experiencing something so extraordinary. As weeks turned into months, Arnold realized that his friendship with Cindy had forever changed his relationship with the sea. The ocean, once just a source of livelihood, had become a place of wonder and deep connection. His bond with Cindy reminded him that even the most feared creatures could possess a capacity for connection that went beyond survival. Though his life as a fisherman would continue, he knew he would always approach the water with a renewed respect for the world beneath the waves. Arnold's time with Cindy would remain a treasured chapter of his life, one he would carry with him forever. Cindy had shown him that compassion could transcend fear, bridging the divide between man and the unknown. Their friendship was a reminder that the ocean was not only a place of mystery but one of shared understanding and mutual respect. Arnold couldn't ignore the impact his unusual friendship had on his daily life. Returning home with empty nets weighed on him as his income began to reflect the toll of Cindy's presence. The once busy fishing days had quieted, and with fewer fish around, the financial strain was hard to dismiss. Yet, the bond he felt with Cindy made it difficult to resent her. He saw her as a friend, not just a predator. Over time, Cindy's appearances became less predictable. She no longer waited for him every morning by the shore, and eventually, her visits stopped altogether. Arnold's fishing routine returned to normal, and the schools of fish gradually returned, no longer deterred by the shadow of a great white shark. As his income stabilized, his life slipped back into the familiar rhythm he had known before Cindy came into it. Still, Arnold knew he'd never forget Cindy. The memory of his time with the great white shark stayed vivid, and he often thought back to their strange, heartwarming connection. For a brief period, the boundaries between man and nature had softened, allowing him to glimpse a side of the ocean he'd never seen before. Cindy had revealed a gentleness that contradicted everything he'd known about great whites, and that experience stayed with him long after she disappeared. Even as he continued his work, casting nets, hauling in fish, and navigating the ocean waters, Arnold held on to the belief that his act of compassion towards Cindy had created something lasting. His time with her was a reminder of the unexpected connections that could form between humans and animals, even those as wild and untamed as a great white shark. In the end, Arnold carried Cindy's memory as a story to share, a tale of kindness, courage, and a friendship that had transcended fear. It became a part of him, a cherished chapter in his life that reminded him of the mysteries beneath the waves and the possibility of finding trust in the most unlikely places. To Arnold, Cindy wasn't just a shark. She was a friend who had changed his view of the ocean forever.